Fatima's anger and cruelty reached new heights, and she threw Amina out of the house. Amina cried and begged her stepmother, but all her plea fell on her deaf ears. With a heavy heart and a sense of determination, she left the house with no idea on what to do. She had no relatives to go to, and she just went from one house to the other, but no one was ready to accommodate a stranger. Once upon a time, in a city in Nigeria, there lived a woman named Fatima, and she had a daughter and a stepdaughter who her late husband left her from his first wife, who died after giving birth. The name of her daughter is Jamila, while Amina was her stepdaughter. While her husband was alive, Fatima took care of Amina from when she was a baby. She saw her like her own daughter, but Fatima, once a kind woman, had grown bitter with the loss of her husband. She poured her grief into anger, directing it at Amina. Jamila, following her mother's lead, treated Amina with hatred. While Fatima and Jamila enjoyed the comforts of life, wearing beautiful clothes and attending social gatherings, Amina was subjected to menial chores and harsh words. Amina's days were filled with cooking, cleaning, and fetching water. She scrubbed floors until her hands were raw and carried heavy loads until her back ached. Despite this, she never complained. Instead, she found solace in her late-night studies. After finishing her chores, Amina would retreat to a small, cluttered room. The only solace she found was in her books, where she would escape into a world of knowledge and possibility. Amina's life was a never-ending struggle. She was treated every day like a servant by her stepmother, Fatima, and her stepsister, Jamila. Despite her best efforts, she was constantly belittled and criticized. As she delved deeper into her studies, Amina's passion for learning grew. She longed to break free from the shackles of her miserable life and make a better future for herself. But every time, Fatima would always remind her that no good would ever come out of her, no matter how much she tried. And she would make her work the more, so she won't have time to read, but Fatima would always read all night. One fateful day, Fatima had discovered her secret studies, and she was so angry that the more she tried to stop her from reading, the more determined she was. Fatima's anger and cruelty reached new heights, and she threw Amina out of the house. Amina cried and begged her stepmother, but all her plea fell on her deaf ears. With a heavy heart and a sense of determination, she left the house with no idea on what to do. She had no relatives to go to, and she just went from one house to the other, but no one was ready to accommodate a stranger. As she wandered the streets, Amina felt like she was walking through a dark tunnel with no end in sight. She had nowhere to turn, no one to turn to. The city seemed endless and unforgiving, and she wondered if she would ever find a glimmer of hope. For days, Amina slept on the streets, scrounging for scraps to eat and hiding from the harsh realities of the world. She felt like an invisible being, invisible to the world and invisible to herself. Every day, As the nights fell, Amina would find herself wandering towards the marketplace, drawn to the warm glow of Mama Kemi's shop. She would curl up outside the shop, using the walls as a makeshift bed, hoping that no one would notice her presence. Mama Kemi would often come out early in the morning to prepare for the day's trading, but Amina knew better than to approach her during those hours. She was afraid of being rejected or chased away. But one morning, Mama Kemi came out earlier than usual, drawn by the faint sounds of Amina's sobs. She saw Amina huddled against the wall, shivering with cold and exhaustion. Mama Kemi's heart went out to the young girl, and she approached her slowly. "Amina," she whispered softly. Amina looked up, startled, her eyes red from crying and her face streaked with dirt. Mama Kemi's kind eyes softened even further as she took in the sight of the young girl's despair. "What are you doing here, at this early hour of the morning?" Mama Kemi asked gently. Amina hesitated before speaking, unsure if she should trust this stranger. I left my home," she whispered. "My stepmother threw me out." Mama Kemi's expression turned stern, but there was a hint of compassion in her eyes. "Come inside," she said firmly. "You're not safe here on the streets." Amina hesitated for a moment before standing up and following Mama Kemi into the shop. As they entered the warm and cozy space, Amina felt a sense of relief wash over her. For the first time in days, she felt like someone cared about her. Mama Kemi lived alone as all her children were all married and far away from her. She took her in and started taking care of her like her own child. Under Mama Kemi's guidance, Amina began to rebuild her life. She was enrolled in a good school and Mama Kemi taught her about business and entrepreneurship, showing her how to create something from nothing. Amina threw herself into her studies, determined to make a better future for herself. She started small, selling handmade crafts in front of Mama Kemi's shop. But soon enough, word spread about the talented young entrepreneur who was making waves in the marketplace. Amina worked very hard to learn new things. She helped Mama Kemi with her small shop. Mama Kemi taught Amina how to be good at running a business. Amina watched how Mama Kemi talked to suppliers, helped customers, and solved problems. Mama Kemi also made sure Amina focused on her education, and she did so well in her studies, and in no time, she secured admission into University of Ibadan. After many months of hard work, Mama Kemi helped Amina start her own small shop. Amina got some money to start her own business. She sold handmade things like cloth and toys in the market. She also employed a trusted person to oversee her business while she was in school. People liked what she sold, and her shop became popular. Amina worked very hard and was kind to everyone, and in no time, she opened a bigger shop and hired some helpers. She remembered when she had a hard time and wanted to help others who were struggling too. She started helping poor kids go to school because she knew that education is important. All this she was doing while she was still in the university. Many people liked her story and were inspired by her. She became famous in the community for being strong and helping others. Amina's business grew even bigger. She opened many shops in the city, but she never forgot to help others. She became a leader who was respected not only for being good at business, but also for being kind and helping others. Years passed, and Amina graduated from the university with a first class. She was also running a business while she was in the university. She got a beautiful job with an oil company in Lagos. She became well known for her kindness and generosity, always willing to lend a helping hand to those in need. Her story inspired countless others to pursue their dreams, no matter how impossible they seemed. But despite all her accomplishments, Amina never forgot the pain of her past. She knew that forgiveness was not always easy, but it was necessary for healing. One day, Amina received news that Fatima and Jamila had fallen on hard times. Their once comfortable life had crumbled, and they were struggling to make ends meet. Amina, now a successful and influential woman, decided to visit her old home. When she arrived, Fatima and Jamila were shocked to see her. They had heard of her success but never expected her to return. Amina, however, bore no grudge. She offered them help and forgiveness, choosing compassion over resentment. Fatima and Jamila, humbled and grateful, accepted her help. Amina provided them with financial support and helped them get back on their feet. She also ensured that they received counseling, hoping to heal the emotional wounds of the past. In that moment, Amina's choice to forgive and help those who had wronged her showcased her true strength. The bonds of family were mended, and they started a new chapter together, built on mutual respect and understanding. Amina continued to impact on the community. She became a respected leader, known not just for her success, but for her kindness and willingness to uplift others. Her journey from hardship to triumph became a beacon of inspiration. As the sun set over the city, Amina stood on her balcony, reflecting on her journey. From a life of hardship to one of success and fulfillment, she had transformed not only her own life but the lives of many others. Her story was a testament to the power of resilience, forgiveness, and the enduring human spirit. Amina's legacy continued to inspire generations, a reminder that with determination and compassion, one could overcome any obstacle and achieve greatness. Her journey from a mistreated stepdaughter to a successful woman and community leader was celebrated, her name becoming synonymous with strength, kindness, and unwavering resolve.